Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tea Time Tuesday, our special tea time for Black History Month, where we're taking time to pause, reset, and build resilience by honoring and celebrating the history of African American people. And so, to this evening, we have Patrick Brown and we have Carmela Head, who will be on. We'll be all together and participating in this special tea time this evening. Make sure to share and like this broadcast. I'm so excited about tonight in our observation and honoring Black history. So this is a special tea time. Remember to please grab your tea. All right, grab your drink of choice and share. Tell someone that the Renewal Center's tea time is on and that we
Yes.
are here to honor and celebrate the history. So we are just excited for this Black History Month. Good evening. Welcome, Michelle, one of our tea timers. Welcome to all of our tea timers. And if this is
Yes.
your first time with us this evening, welcome to Tea Time Tuesdays. And we're just excited to have you on as we are tonight. The Renewal Center is celebrating Black History Month this year, and we're just excited. So remember to like and share regarding this special tea time as we honor Black history. Go ahead and go if you want to. Go head over to YouTube and you can view us there as well on our YouTube channel. Hello and good evening and welcome to Tea Time Tuesdays, Crystal. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Patrick, who's going to go ahead and lead us into our Black history observation this evening.
Thank you so much, Hope, and welcome again, everybody. I just want you to go ahead and grab your tea. Please tag, please share, please bring your friends on. So I'm going to give you a moment. Let's get those numbers up today so we can engage in renewal practices from Black history. Renewal practices from Black history. You know, over here, we're about renewing minds and restoring lives. So we want to encourage you to do that. Go ahead and grab your tea, grab your journal. You already know the deal. Let's connect and welcome to those that are new. Because tea time, again, to Hope's point, is about pausing, about resetting and building resilience. And so I'd like to share our tea of the week today is lemon verbena tea, the Renewal Center's tea of the week. So I would like to also ask you, what's your tea of choice this evening? Those of you that are out there. So what is your tea of choice? Let us know how you're unwinding in your evening today. What is your tea of choice? And I'm going to talk a little bit about lemon verbena tea. Really, it's a refreshing, citrusy herb type of tea that is, first of all, it is very delicate, lemony in flavor, of course, subtle floral notes in it. It's a nice tea to have in the morning or the afternoon. And it has a really nice calming effect on your mind and your body. And so it's really good for relaxation, excellent for stress relief, even digestive disorders as well. So you got a little indigestion. It's good for you. Also for joint pain, perhaps, and it helps you with relaxation. And so wonderful tea to engage in. Again, I've never had lemon verbena tea, so I think I'm going to try to get that. Carmela, you know about that one. So thank you for sharing with us that option tonight. So again, what is your tea of choice? I actually have my traditional peppermint tea this evening. So as we are engaging in our renewal practices from Black history this evening, I'm looking forward to just sipping on our peppermint tea and engaging in renewal practices.
Yes.
Mel, what do you have this evening in your tea of choice?
Oh, well, I have a German tea. It's Waldberry. So it's actually wildberry German tea. You know,
Pronounce that again?
Wildberry. It's called Waldberry. So it's wildberry.
Okay.
German tea.
Excellent. Excellent. Hope, what about you? What you got?
I have water this evening. So
Yeah,
no
water
sugar.
this evening.
Yeah,
Okay.
water, lemon lime water this evening. I am enjoying it. It is very refreshing.
All right. All right for the hydration this evening. And we also have orange ginger turmeric tea. Michelle, okay. Good evening, Nicole. Nicole, I know you got something interesting, so I'm looking forward to see what you got new for us this evening, Nicole. Monique has also lemon water. All right. So we've got the lemon water hydration this evening at Orange Ginger. Okay, we got enough. Renita has lemon water. I guess this is the lemon water night.
I gotta jump on the bandwagon.
All right. Nicole says just coffee. Okay, well, just coffee this evening. All right, so I'm so grateful to have everyone. Thank you so much for sharing in your tea of choice this evening. So, Mel, I'll pass it on over to you. So as we move forward in our tea time this evening.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Patrick. This is the time that we do our locating yourself exercise. So everyone that's joining in that hasn't joined us before for Tea Time Tuesday, this is the time that we just relax ourselves, do some deep breathing, and take a look at the video, the imagery that will take us to a moment of relaxation. So let's do that. Let's just calm down. We've been doing a lot today. Let's take our moment of pause. I hope that you are relaxing your shoulders and your fingers and your hands and taking some nice deep breaths. Just a couple more seconds to relax. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that moment of locating ourselves. And we're going to move forward in our Black History program.
Thank you so much. That was refreshing, very refreshing. If you're out there, please hashtag renew BHM. That's Renew Black History Month. Go ahead and hashtag that, please. Hashtag renew BHM, Black History Month. We want you to connect with us. Let us know that you're engaged. And again, thank you so much. You know, one of the key things here at the Renewal Center is about renewing our minds. And so it's important for us to look at history and how history speaks to us. It really shapes and frames how we got to where we are right now because of our history collectively, our history individually. And so it's important for us to be able to acknowledge how history has led us to where we are. And so this evening's focus and special Black History program, again, from the Renewal Center, again, we always focus on renewal practices. What's going to refresh us, what's going to grow us, what's going to transform us. And so this evening's focus is, again, it is about renewal practices from Black history. So if you have a journal, go ahead and get your journal prepared. We'd like you to engage with us and let us know how you can extract renewal practices from Black history. One of the key things here at the Renewal Center, we do have a cafe here on site. We have a thought room. We have an action room. This is also a space for you to reflect and think as you're reading in our thought room, historical documents, historical books, or you're reflecting, or you're journaling. Even sometimes you're thinking about your day because your day has gone by. That's even history. Maybe you wrote about something that happened last week. That's even history. And so we'd like to kick our time off this evening with a poem. We have one of our team members on our ministry team, as well as someone who's been in education for many years, also who leads in her own right in ministry, is going to read a poem for us this evening to get us started. And so again, the poem is Black is Beautiful. It's written by Sharon D. Brown Rogers, and it's been published in Family Friend Poems, November 2006. And we have the permission of the author this evening to present her work. And so I'm going to bring Monique on, and everyone, please just tune your ears to the poem and just reflect and let this poem renew you. So everybody, let's welcome Monique to the stage, if you will.
Good evening. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everybody. I'm so excited to share this poem with you. And everybody looks so beautiful in your African attire and just, coming together tonight. And so I hope that you enjoy this poem. It's called Black is Beautiful. It says, Black is as beautiful as a bed of milky white clouds. Black is as beautiful, as soft as a newborn baby's hair. Black is as beautiful as standing up for what is right. Black is as beautiful as trying on grandmother's classy hats. Black is as beautiful as you and I saying hi. Black is as beautiful as two sisters walking hand in hand. Black is as beautiful as wading in a pond on a hot summer day. Black is as beautiful as you holding your baby for the very first time. Black is as beautiful as saying, I miss you. Black is as beautiful as going fishing with your dad. Black is as beautiful as calling your mother on her birthday. Black is as beautiful as two brothers playing basketball. Black is as beautiful as braiding your sister's hair. Black is as beautiful as grandpa taking you to the park. Black is as beautiful as the sweet sound of a saxophone playing. Black is as beautiful as eating mom's never fail caramel cake. Black is as beautiful as the bright rising sun. Black is as beautiful as a simple kiss placed on the forehead. Black is as beautiful as lilies on Easter morning. Black is as beautiful as saying, I love you. Black is me, and I am beautiful. And again, that poem is from Sharon D. Brown Rogers. I hope that you enjoyed that poem and that reading for this evening.
Oh, thank you so much. That was refreshing. Can you just sit in the beauty of that? Sit in the beauty of all those words, sit in the beauty of all those words of inspiration and affirmation and strength. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Monique, for reading that this evening. I like our tea timers to just connect with us. And if you can, just put in there, Black is beautiful. Go ahead and put that in the comments. Absolutely. Again, we're talking about being renewed today in our minds. And you know what? Self-affirmation is important, right? That you speak that over your own life. You can replace that word beautiful with something else for your life. But what have you? I thank the poet for writing that, and thank you for reading that this evening. And so our focus today, as we generally do in our tea time, is about pausing, and it is about resetting. It is about building resilience. And when you think about building resilience, it's about how we connect with one another, how we draw from one another, how everyone contributes. And so when we think about Black history this evening, we're taking some quotes from authors and thought leaders, both that are both historical figures and contemporary figures in the African diaspora. And so what's happening now is we're going to really dive into some renewal practices this evening. So again, today's focus is renewal practices from Black history. So if you're out there, let us know that you're out there. Please tag your friends. Please like, please share on your pages as well so that we can move forward this evening in this engagement. So let's go right into our first quote. Hope I'm gonna have you read yours, and then let's go into some renewal practices for these?
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. Now, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. James Baldwin, as much truth as one can bear. New York Times.
Okay. And
All that you touch can change. All that you change changes you. Octavia Butler.
hmm, now let's sit with these and let's locate ourselves with these particular quotes. So Hope, let's extract some renewal practices, things that we can apply to our lives. How does this impact you? Let's start off with this quote from James Baldwin.
Yes, so this quote, it speaks much. And as we know, tea time is a time where we pause, reset, and build resilience. And so we just want to take the time to pause because he's talking about change. And here, and
Mm,
it says, not everything that we face can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. The part that really that stands out, and those who are chiming in even right now, what part of that quote sticks out to you? What part of that quote is speaking to you as far as for which you can pause and reset and think about the quote here? I'm going to read it again. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. And this is by
mm,
James Baldwin. What's sticking out to you? What's the question that you would ask yourself? Or what renewal practice can we get from this? And so, in this, I see that there is change. But the part about it was at the comma when it says, but.
mm,
So the but is the adjective that's adding the encouragement. Okay, so it's saying, but nothing can be changed until it's faced, meaning that we have to face things. This spoke to me. That's the first thing I thought about was the courage and the boldness to be able to face things that seem to be like they're not changing. And that's the renewal center practice that I drew from this um, particular quote here by
mhm,
James Baldwin, he was an American writer and civil rights activist, and so he has a lot of different work. Those who may not be familiar, including essays, movies, and plays and poems. And so, in this particular what he's quoting here, and even as I read other quotes by him, it's that part where it says, "But," that's the courage part. That's
mm,
the renewal principle right there. The renewal practice that we want to look into, that is encouraging that though we may face things and it may not change, we have the courage to continue to press forward, to watch things change, and the continued encouragement to move forward. So that's the renewal practice that I got from that. Any of you wanted to add anything to that particular quote?
Hope, I want to first of all thank you for pointing out the but part, you know, and how that shows the ability to show courage. And so I appreciate you sharing that there are times we're going to need to face situations, and instead of drawing back from them,
Mm.
we face it so that we can build our courage and we can build boldness from that. So I appreciate that as a renewal practice.
Yeah, I want to say something too about it, that I like that quote because it says, it points us to nothing can change, until we step to the plate and actually address what's there, and how necessary it is for us to make a point to face what's there. And maybe we'll be the ones to bring some type of solution as we are facing it. So it is a level of courage to face what's, in front of us.
Mm. And that's good because what you brought out was you said courage. And that's why I like that the part in the quote that has the but, and then it gives that encourage. Nothing can be changed until it is faced. It is faced.
Mm,
So this is from, again, James Baldwin, as much truth as one can bear, New York Times. And so this was just a phenomenal quote because, again, like you said, Carmela, it's that courage, like I seen in the comments, courage to move forward And you even put in the renewal comments, they're only courage to move forward. And so that injunction, that but there, lets us know to continue to be encouraged and moving forward. And so that's the renewal practice that we want to leave away today from this particular quote, as far as referencing Black history and the history of this writer, this poet, and the things that he was able to write during the civil rights movement, that encouraged a community of people, that encouraged anyone that would read it. And so this is the courage to continue to move forward so that we can see change unfold and take place. And then our second quote is, all that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. I'm going to read that again. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. And I'd say, and this is by Octavia Butler. When I was reading this, what stood out was the point that even things are changing. It's kind of like a double. It's like all that you touch can change, but also the things that are being changed changes us. And so we want to take a time, even right now, to just pause on this particular quote by Octavia Butler. In this quote, the part that all that you change changes you. What's the change that's taking place that is changing us? And as we understand this particular quote, and even the renewal practice that we get from the quote, is that we understand that not only are we making change, but change is also taking place within us. And so that's the renewal practice from this particular quote by Octavia Butler, she was an American scientist. She was an author. She did sci-fi. She was a writer of sci-fi. She had different awards that she received. I think it was the Nubia Awards in 1995. She became the first science fiction writer to receive the MacArthur Fellowship. And so she was a writer of sci-fi, and everybody that knows me know I love sci-fi. And so I embrace the history of Octavia Butler and this quote. And what are we doing? And so even right now, I want our Tea Time audience to engage. What has changed you while you were changing something else? As you were bringing change, how was that change affecting you? How is that change pushing and encouraging you? How is that change changing your perspective and views? And so we want to take time to just pause as we reflect on this particular quote. All that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. That is a powerful quote. I see you shaking your head, Carmela. Is something you want to add to that?
Yeah, I like it because it speaks to personal growth. It speaks to personal development, and it speaks to us evolving. So every time we embrace something, we're learning. And so I love that quote. I think it's so important. You know, we see ourselves in this quote. We see ourselves growing with everything that we encounter. So I like how you're explaining that.
All right, Patrick, did you have anything you want to share?
No, I'm really just meditating on it right now.
Okay.
You're
pausing.
I'm pausing. Right
So this is, even in this particular quote, let's walk away with what we receive from this, and write this down into your journal. Take that time to reflect even the more on, even as Carmela said, your own personal growth as you continue to transform and evolve. And so here again, we're encouraged with these particular quotes that are both talking about change, and the many dynamics and many perspectives of change, for these great African-American authors, James Baldwin and Octavia E. Butler, who were great writers during a civil time movement, and breaking in barriers of writing and bringing forth change even today, with the quotes that we are reading even many years later. So make sure that you take this down, our quotes, and the renewal center practices of just change, and how what you're doing is not only changing others, but how it is changing you.
Thank you so much, Hope, for going over those two quotes. And again, everyone, thank you and welcome to our tea time. And I want to thank everyone. We're focused specifically this evening on renewal practices from Black history. And so renewal practices from Black history. A couple of comments that are coming in. I want to go ahead and address those while those are coming up. And so we got some powerful insights that are coming in this evening. Go ahead and read these. All right. Monique says, and she's on our reader for this evening, says, courage to move forward. Yes. Renita says, if I desire change, I have to initiate it. I have to initiate it.
That's good.
So, hey, let's not sit there and complain. If we desire to see change, there's something we have to do. Very important. Very important. Something else that's coming up here, influence and growth. Monique, you want to read your comment?
Sure. Change is a process that requires action on your part. And so as I was listening and looking at the quote and really just taking it in, I like the piece around where it talks about how everything that you change, it changes you. And so it does require, for us to be a participant when there is change taking place. So it really caused me to think about a lot of different things, and especially for me at work. When you bring about change in your environment, change in the culture, for example, you got to be the first partaker. And so you've got to model those things that you want to see, and it causes you to have to make some changes and adjustments as well. So I love the quote, and I'm really just meditating on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Michelle says, whatever we touch will forever have our imprint. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? What other renewal practices are you drawing or extracting from these two quotes? Hope as we close this particular segment out, you want to read Renita's statement here, please?
Sure. In my line of work, in my hope of changing lives of my students, my perceptions of the personal challenges they face have changed. I have learned to be more compassionate and not to assume anything about a person's struggle, but to genuinely listen to understand.
Thank you, Renita. All right. So again, I want to thank everyone for just connecting with us here at our tea time. We're discussing and really having renewal practices from Black history. And so again, absolutely, Nichelle, change makes the world go round. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So again, thank you so much. All right, Carmela, we're going to go on over to you and introduce your two quotes for this evening, okay?
Okay. Well, tonight I have the pleasure of sharing two quotes from two incredible icons, and that's Nikki Giovanni and Mae Jemison. And I'm just excited because what we're reading tonight is really interesting. You can go ahead and put the quotes up. I'm going to go ahead and begin reading Nikki Giovanni's quote. You must be unintimidated by your own thoughts, because if you write with someone looking over your shoulder, you'll never write. And so we're going to also not only look at Nikki Giovanni's, but we're going to look at Mae Jemison's. And she says, never be limited by other people's limited imaginations. If you adopt their attitudes, then the possibility won't exist because you'll have already shut it out. You can hear other people's wisdom, but you've got to reevaluate the world for yourself. Okay, so, this is amazing because I believe that both of these quotes speaks to the creativity of the individual. Both speak inspiration, both speak motivation, bringing forth creativity, going beyond what our expectations are and pushing our potential forward and embracing all that we embody. But at the same time, both are quotes are incredibly similar. If you think about it, you can go put the quotes back up, and because it speaks to honoring our value, it speaks to our inner voice, our creativity, our own innovations and ideas. And it's important to see our own contribution and honor our own voice. But both also speak to the pressure, I believe, of the counterintuitive ideas that stifle our creativity. So if we go back to Nikki Giovanni's quote, and I would like for us to also take a minute and just pause and look at the word unintimidated. Now, while you're looking at that, I just want to bring to your attention that both Mae Jameson and Nikki Giovanni, they're both distinguished professional pioneers. They're very incredible, prolific in their own right. They've done some firsts. They've been pioneers. They've been innovative. They've been creative people. They've both paved the way for others to follow in history. And if you look at both of their lives, if you do some research, you'll see that many similarities between the both, because they went beyond the expectations. They were dedicated to staying focused on their dreams. They were innovative. They were multifaceted individuals and creative. They were intentional and incredibly talented, which is why both of these quotes are the same, because it took grit for them to do what they did. And so we're going to come back to the quote. If you look at the words unintimidated, what are you finding? Please put it in the chat. What is that making you think about when you think about unintimidated? Because I came up with some words. I found that it meant to be uncompromising, to be fearless, and to be steadfast. So if we put those words back in the sentence or in this quote, it shows that we got to be uncompromising. We got to be fearless and steadfast in our own thoughts. So let's go to the chat and see what we're discovering. What do you all believe the word unintimidated mean? Not moved. Unmoved. Yes. Unmoved. Grounded. We must be grounded, unmoved, by our own thoughts, because if we write with someone looking over our shoulder, we'll never write. And so what I got from this quote, and I'm going to open it up for discussion, is that our ideas lead to innovation, creativity, and that creativity is in the core of everybody, and everybody's endowed with creativity and capacity and generating solutions. Both of these icons were very, steadfast, Ravella. They were very creative, multifaceted in what they were doing, and they were uncompromising and fearless, and they were steadfast in what they believed and what they were pursuing. What they did was bring things to the betterment of our society, of Black history, of our community, and in the world we live in. But one of the things in that quote is, if you're always seeking the validation, that's what I'm seeing there. If you're constantly seeking the validation or the validity of what you're thinking or you're doing, you'll always doubt yourself, and you won't be free to create. What do you guys think about that? I see you all are shaking your head. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, I was thinking about it. I like the fact that you brought the attention to the word. You can put that quote back up. I think that word was unintimidated. And because of this, when we see that, and I'm glad you brought attention to this, because then it opens us up to really fully understanding the rest of the quote in its completeness and wholeness. And so this is this for me speaks volumes, and is very profound, prolific writer here. And so it allows us that area of being free as well, not just being stable or like foundational, but actually being free. That thing with can you imagine like somebody you're writing and somebody just over your shoulder all the time? Sometimes people call it micromanaging sometimes, but when somebody's just constantly there, you feel boggled, you feel restricted. Right, and so this quote, it's inviting you to feel free. It's inviting you to have the perspective to be free and to move beyond the restrictions of feeling or allowing anyone to stand in and intimidate you, but be unintimidated and be solid and foundational in what you are believing and what you are doing. So also that firm part that speaks to them, that part about being free while I'm doing it, being
Right.
free while I'm involved in it.
I love that. Thank you, Hope. I love that. What you're saying is so true, and that can equate right back what we were just looking at about being unintimidated, being uninhibited to produce, to strategize, all of these things, to present what we have to offer. That's what that quote is just speaking to us volumes tonight about being creative. Do y'all want to say anything else before I move to the next slide? Because I see some things in the chat going on out there that our tea timers wanted to share too, before I go to the next quote.
Sure, let me bring those up for you. Here you go.
Okay, Renita, she's saying not allowing others' ideas or plans for your life dictate what you do. Exactly. And that's exactly the looking over the shoulder or feeling that you have to have the validation to create, or the validity to have the voice that you have. Because both of these icons here, I'm telling you, thinking about, they went beyond. Nikki Giovanni, she's a prolific writer. She's just amazing with all of the honors that she has. She's an American poet, a writer, commentator. She has many honorary doctorates because of what she's given towards society, and her works are numerous awards, just going beyond the things that she has poured in to the body of thought leadership. And just imagine how we are sitting here looking at this quote, thinking about all of the ideas that we have and all the creativity, but allowing someone else or outside forces to stifle and inhibit our creativity is something else. So this is a really good quote. Nicole, she's saying being confident and secure in your own decisions, even if contrary to others' opinions. Absolutely. And this is what this quote is speaking to. I'm going to give some renewal practices to both of these in a minute, but let's move to the next slide really quick. I want to share this quote from Mae Jemison. Never be limited by other people's limited imaginations. So while I'm reading this, go ahead and put in the chat, what are you thinking when you hear about other people's limited imaginations? If you adopt their attitudes, then the possibility won't exist because you have already shut it out. Okay, you can hear other people's wisdom, but you've got to reevaluate the world for yourself. And one of the things that I pulled out of this is looking at the word limited. It speaks to taking on the limited beliefs of other people that don't maximize what you're doing or you're creating. Remember, both of these quotes talk about creativity. So my question to you, tea timers, is how can we remove the limitations in the environments that don't serve our creativity, or how can we even create possibilities that even open our way to embrace our own creativity? If we really think about it, how can we remove those limitations? And then I would like to ask this: how can we remove limitations or things that, how can we reinforce or empower ourselves to excel and to be creative when an environment doesn't speak to innovation or creativity or embrace your ideas? I think this is really important. Those are some great questions. So what do you believe about that, tea timers? How are you going to keep your possibilities open to dream or to aspire or to do something great? What are some things that we can do for self-discovery? And both of these icons are prime examples of not allowing any outside limitation to stifle creativity. What do you guys have to say about that? I'm going to just wait a second and sip my tea and let you all share.
I'm going to share with something that Renita is sharing right now in the chat. Says, I know part of Mae Jemison's story is that she told her teacher she wanted to go to space, and her teacher told her she'd be better being a nurse. That's limited imagination. But Mae Jemison stayed focused and determined to achieve her aspirations.
Yes, indeed. Because Mae Jemison went into orbit, as we know. She's the first African American woman in space. She's a medical doctor. There's so many things that she's done. I mean, she's an astronaut, the first African American woman to travel into space. That's huge, and that's pioneering and groundbreaking. Isn't it amazing? She was actually on the Space Shuttle Endeavour in 1992. And that is something that we can glean from. And as Renita was saying, the limitations that people may have placed, or thinking maybe you're just going to be a nurse, but she exceeded that. There was grit, there was creativity and innovation to go beyond the expectations of what other people may have thought that you could be. So I find both of these quotes to be motivating and inspiring. And here are 3 renewal practices that I thought that would be appropriate. 1, embrace yourself. 2, embrace your creativity. 3, embrace your voice. And it's a part of reset, tweaking the way that we think. So we want to make sure that, we are to allow ourselves to create, allow ourselves to go beyond our own expectation, exceed our own expectation, and move forward in our potential, and not let limiting beliefs, but move into possibility, and then not allow outside forces to stifle the creativity that is within us. So embrace ourselves, embrace our creativity, and embrace our inner voice.
Thank you so much. Camilla, I was thinking about Mae Jemison, and my mind went into what happens when rockets go into space. And anytime we've watched the footage, there's always a layer that has to come off in order for it to go to the next level. And I began to think about that, like, what layers of things that people may have said or action towards us, or even things we say to ourselves. If you're going to go through the mesosphere, the troposphere, the ionosphere, you're going to go into the other spheres, there's a certain level, there's a push in aerodynamics. But once the fuel runs out, it has to fall off. And so sometimes there are things we have to just release if we're going to continue to grow and expand higher in who we need to be. And so I began to think about that just as an analogy. Since she went into space, I thought about that, like, wow, the importance of letting those things come off.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm always
I love that. So, that speaks to all of us. Yes, that's empowering.
Yes. We got a couple more things. Monique says here, embrace yourself. Okay, giving us our 3 practices: embrace yourself, embrace your creativity, and embrace your voice. Monique, can you read this, Dr. Paul Brown's statement here?
Sure. Personally, I considered cross-training from communications to clinical lab science. One cannot allow the closed-minded thoughts of others to frustrate your vision. Yes. Nevertheless, I stayed focused, completed training, having a successful career in medical laboratory science. And that's Dr. Paul Brown.
Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. So we're, again, folks, this evening, we're gaining renewal practices from Black history. One of the key things when you're reading a quote, you're reading an idea, you're observing a painting, you're listening to music, you're experiencing, maybe looking at the mountains, or you're watching something along the water, allow that to speak to you by just pausing and saying, what renewal practices can I extract from this? How can I grow from this experience? What is this teaching me? And what is this showing me about myself? And again, these are important things that we need to embrace when we think about quotes. And so we wanted to look at historical figures as well as contemporary figures from the African diaspora and really understand what we can extract from them. So thanks again for sharing those, Carmela, and thank you, Hope, as well. Before I go into my renewal practices, I wanted to share with you again, here at the Renewal Center, we're a nonprofit organization here in Concord, North Carolina. We are also online. We use the word global, which means global and local. And so we're about hospitality here at the Renewal Center. We have an incredible presence here about creativity here in our art and voice room. Please visit us anytime that you're here in the Concord or Charlotte, North Carolina area. We have space for you to really improvise and to innovate and create and activate your capacities and the competencies that you have in a renewing environment. So we're all about hospitality. And so we have complimentary Wi-Fi. Stop by, have some tea and coffee on us. Be Southern and sit out on the porch and people watch if you want. Go into our thought room and reflect as well. And so we also offer many other types of opportunities here, not just tea time, which we have each fourth Tuesday is at 7 p.m. Our first and second and third Tuesdays are at 12 noon each and every day. So if you're new to tea time, please set your calendars for Tuesdays at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, where we focus on pausing, resetting, and building resilience. And not only also then, we also have our Wednesday evening. We have different types of sessions and teachings right now called Reforming Culture. We also have a grief recovery practice here that we're developing as well. If you need grief recovery, you've experienced loss, and you really need assistance in terms of helping you with that, we offer that as well. And I say that to say that if you'd like to donate to the Renewal Center, just want to give you an opportunity to support our work and say, hey, I'm benefiting from tea time, but also I see the vision and mission of what you're doing as the Renewal Center. And so I just want to give you an opportunity to partner with us as a renewer, as a tea timer, someone who says, I believe in what you're doing. I like to support your operational budget here. We have our location and we're offering an atmosphere of hospitality, an atmosphere of renewal. So these are the ways that you can give to the Renewal Center. You can go to our website, which is therenewalcenters.com/give. Also, we have a mobile app. You can text to give. If you text Renewal Center to 888-364-4483, we have PayPal as well as Zelle, which is our email, the Renewal Center 2020 at Gmail. We have Venmo at Renewal Center, and then CashApp, which is Cash Renewal Center. And then also you can mail a check or money order to our P.O. Box 1381, Concord, North Carolina, and that's 28026. So please feel free to pause at this moment and say, hey, I want to consider giving and supporting the Renewal Center. And also you can give in a secure way through our mobile app. And that way you can support us there and stay connected to all of our digital content, our blog, our motivational word, prayer requests, even our video content as well. And any announcements, just turn that notification on and connect with us. So I just wanted to just pause for that, just to share that with you. So thank you again for supporting and considering being a partner with us here at the Renewal Center. I want to go into my renewal practices for this evening as well. The last two quotes for this evening. And I began to think through two preachers and how Black preaching and Black sermonizing, there's a relationship when we think about the Black church and how the Black church was founded and the reason why it was founded back in 1787, specifically with the AME Church with Absalom Jones and Richard Allen, and how they were not allowed to worship with white people at that time. And so as a result of that, we created our own space. Again, we were not limited by other groups and other perspectives of us, right? And so we embraced the gospel that liberated us. And so it began to liberate our minds. And so I wanted to bring some Black preachers into the mix of renewal practices, because there's a symbiotic relationship between preaching and the parishioner or the artist or the audience. And so I want to emphasize two quotes, one from Howard Thurman, who is an incredible theologian and a mystic and a writer and an author, the author of Luminous Darkness, that said, there are two questions that we have to ask ourselves. Where am I going? And the second is, who will go with me? Let's sit with this and locate ourselves in a renewal practice. And this is for those of you that have an idea, that you have a vision, that you have a mission, that you have a dream, that you have a goal, that you have a growth mindset. that is something that you want to achieve or accomplish or a space you want to grow. And so I want you to ask yourself this evening as a renewal practice, where am I going? Which is about vision. Where am I going? What have I imagined? You're struggling with something, you're dealing with a situation. It's always good to tap into your vision or imagination and say, where am I going with this? Somebody said something to me that was negative. How am I going to respond? Where am I going with this? Where am I going in this conversation? What am I going to allow to come through my mouth or react or respond? Where am I going? Where am I going with my business idea? Where am I going as a spouse? Where am I going as a leader, as a servant leader? So it's important to think through this question. I want you to consider that as a renewal practice. And not only that, who will go with me? How are we aligning ourselves with synergy or working with others? Who will go with me as far as being able to walk in unity with others? And you know what? We do that by perhaps inspiring others to see what's within them. So from this particular renewal practice, Howard Thurman really challenges us that it's two questions that we must ask ourselves. And that is, where am I going? Go ahead and write that down, everyone. And who will go with me? Think about that as you begin to maybe restructure your business, your nonprofit, your idea. Because when you start asking about am I going, that means I am now thinking about, am I communicating with clarity where I'm going? Because I can't assume everybody understands that. And so what that does, it causes me to improve my articulation about my ideas as well as my implementation. And then secondly, who will go with me helps me identify, what are some gifts, talents, and abilities in others that may add to where I'm going, because I don't necessarily possess those particular competencies or capabilities. So I just want to open that up for a discussion from anyone out there, our tea timers, or you here on the call. What are your thoughts about these renewal practices? Hope, Mel, or Monique, any thoughts on that? Please feel free to unmute or share any thoughts on this particular phrase from Howard Thurman. Guess everybody's meditating.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just really sitting with it because of the question of where am I going and who am I going with. And so I'm sitting with it because I want to be in my mind and my thoughts intentional about my own answer to myself. I want to be authentic about that. And then the part about who am I going with. That one I may need to reflect on a little bit longer outside of our tea time. I may need to actually create a journal insert regarding this particular quote and allow myself to really engage in journaling and writing about it and answering those two questions in this particular quote that's posed here. So just want to probably just sit with it for a moment and write about it and think about it.
Thank you.
What jumped out to me was the power of asking questions, about being curious, about, curiosity, and, asking questions about what is it going to take for me to get there. And it's about self-awareness. That's what I was getting out of it. Self-awareness, but yet you're still looking for collaboration. So now you're moving from me to we. So that's what I got out of that particular quote. Is you're not, on a journey by yourself, that you are incorporating others to go along with you, and you're developing a plan, but you're doing it by asking questions.
For asking questions. Thank you all. This is good stuff. Renita says here that Samaya answered the second question, says she's gone with the Lord. Well, amen and amen. All right now. Well, she heard the preacher in the quote. Good stuff. Good stuff. And again, a child, amen, is gaining that insight.
Yeah.
And so again, we want to put history inside of our children as well. so that they can get foundation and not only get roots, but also get wings. All right. Here's some response from Michelle. Monique, you want to read this one?
Nichelle says, one of the reasons I like to network is because I know that I can't fulfill my visions alone. That's good. Networking allows me to connect to those who can partner with me along the way. I like that. That's really good, Nichelle.
Thank you. Absolutely, folks. Again, these are just amazing opportunities for us to think about renewal practices and how we can strengthen ourselves by extracting from renewal practice from Black history. My next quote is from another theologian, an incredible thinker, an Old Testament scholar, Dr. Renita Weems. Read many of her works, a contemporary scholar. I read her all the time. And something she said is, we can endure almost anything if we are centered. If we have some focus in our life, you can endure if you have an anchor. And so I'd like to leave us with this renewal practice and ask ourselves, what are you building on? What are you anchored in? What is centering you? How do you know that you're centered? What is your focus? And again, these are from two preachers, from two theologians, one that's historical, one that is contemporary, still writing, still providing leadership to us. So I want you to really think about this as a foundation. We can endure almost anything if we are centered. Not being self-centered, but having a centered self. Two different things. Not being self-centered, but having a centered self. And that's why we have, one of the reasons why we say locate yourself, because you need to know where you are. So that we need to make adjustments in the sail. We can make adjustments in the anchor. We can make adjustments in our calibration to ensure that we're going where we need to go. So I just really wanted to think through this as our final renewal practice for this evening. We can endure almost anything if we're centered. If we have some focus in our life, you can endure it if you have an anchor. Any thoughts on that before we close out our renewal practices for this evening? It's a lot to consider.
Well, we can speak to the correlation between being centered and being anchored. It empowers us, that we can build resilience right there with those two words, centered and anchored.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I know that we've shared various principles this evening, various renewal practices. I'd like everyone that is connecting with us here, if you can just maybe place one takeaway, something that was new, something that you'll adapt and adopt, or even something that you'll say, you know what, that was a good reminder. Let me recalibrate. Let me renew that part. Something new, a takeaway that you can immediately implement tonight. You can implement tomorrow in your life, in your home, in your work. So share some takeaways, and let's just do a round robin. I'll start with you, Monique, and then you, Hope, and you, Mel. What's maybe one takeaway this evening from any of the renewal practices from Black History this evening?
I think one of the major ones that stuck out to me tonight was from Carmela when she said, embracing yourself, embracing your voice, yourself. I think that that's so important, because if you don't embrace who you are, you won't have the freedom to be able to be creative and to launch out into those areas that maybe you're not comfortable in. So I think for me, embracing myself and my voice are the two that I'll take away from tonight's renewal practices.
Thank you.
I would say for me, it was the Last quote, where are you going? Who are you going with? For me, that really stood out. I mean, all the quotes are absolutely thought provoking tonight, and allows us to reflect and think about it. But this one was what really grabbed me to kind of even want to dig even further and begin to write about it a bit more. Just my thoughts down. So, just not only where am I going, but who am I going with? And I know Carmela said something about like the collaboration, being, us people coming together. And so, there's other questions that come out of that particular thing as well as who am I, it being in more detail of the journey ahead. And so that stuck out for me tonight. That was something that I'm going to take away this evening from our renewal practices, that particular quote. I'm going to look at all the quotes, but I feel like I'm just going to, expound and begin to journal about that particular quote.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Hello?
I think when I was sitting there just thinking about what you were saying, what are we taking away? I think I saw grit in all of the quotes. I saw grit because the first quote spoke to courage. The second quote spoke to keeping our voice and going beyond limitations or other people's imposed limitations upon us. And then the last quotes that you were talking about is staying grounded. And I think all of these bring us back to grit, to just keep going, keep digging in, keep standing, keep creating, and keep being all that we can be.
Thank you so much. Just wanted to just go through one more time so you can see these quotes. And again, thank you everyone for chiming in and connecting and sharing. We extracted renewal practices from Black history. And again, Monique, thank you so much for coming on and reading the poem this evening. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So again, thanks everyone. Please share with us any takeaways. I think we have a few that came in. Let me read those. Michelle says here, for the face change quote, I saw an image of me in a face off with what I've been shying away from. All right, so you got some strength this evening. Renita says, my takeaway, stay the course. Don't allow others to detour you. Thank you so much. All right, let's see what else here. Samuel Patricia Boswell, Pastor Boswell, hello. My takeaway along with what I am doing is where am I going and develop a plan by asking questions. Thank you so much. Tia says here, don't allow someone else's beliefs of what you're capable of hinder you from achieving what you know you're capable of.
That's good.
Nicole Purnell says, one word, unintimidated. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been an incredible time. I want to thank everybody. And again, I want to remind you, we have tea time every first and second, third Tuesdays at 12 noon. Then we have our evening tea time, fourth Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And this was our special edition as we've honored the renewal practice of those in Black history. And we're celebrating Black History Month by extracting renewal practices from Black historical and contemporary figures. So a couple of things I want to just announce before we head out again. A few of our announcements. Of course, again, we're on the latter end of our winter giving initiative. And so again, if this is your first time connecting with Tea Time or you're a recurrent Tea Timer, again, we want you to think about and support and donate to the Renewal Center. And we're wrapping up this giving initiative. This helps support our capital budget, our operations budget, the way that we are able to serve and provide programming such as Tea Time Tuesday, such as the Renewal Center, this actual facility here, 159 Church Street Northeast here in Concord, North Carolina, as well as our grief recovery services and other things that we'll have here in our announcements. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to support the Renewal Center. Also, as part of our ministry here at the Renewal Center and our New You, we have an upcoming prophetic gathering that's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia this year, in Fayetteville, Georgia, April 12th and 13th. So, hey, what's it about? Well, we've been having prophetic gatherings since the top of 2020. And the focus is a decade of declaration and demonstration. This year, we're focusing on the formation of Christ in you. So as part of our ministry here at the Renewal Center as well, because we operate not only on Sunday, we operate throughout the week. We're moving our prophetic gathering to Atlanta, Georgia. Here are our speakers, our faculty. It will be on site and virtual. And so when you register, you'll have an opportunity to log in on site or also, virtually, but also attend as well. Of course, we want to see you. And so it'd be wonderful to see you and be a part of that. So there's a registration there. I want to encourage you to be a part of that. You can go to propheticgathering.eventbrite.com. Again, and follow us up on all of our social media pages, and that'll give you an opportunity to connect with us. So we look forward to you being a part of that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up all of our announcements. We want to thank everyone for being a part of Tea Time this evening, our special edition. As we say here at the Renewal Center, I'm Renewal. We'll see you the next time that we're back together. So again, thank you so much. And please note our announcements at this time. All right, again, we have our Tea Time Tuesday, each first, second, and third Tuesdays at 12 p.m. and fourth Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Our New You Digital Discipleship each Sunday at 10 a.m. Please register through all of our media sites and our mobile app. Also, our Wednesdays Reforming Culture. We're teaching the mind of Christ each Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. You can also register through our sites as well. Our fifth Sundays, we have our Reformative Prayer, fifth Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. The next one will be in May. Look forward to seeing you there. Also, we have our Grief Recovery. Your giving and your donations support us, and all roads lead to grief recovery. Please contact our office if you need this service as well. Download our mobile app. And so you can connect with us on all of our digital content, our blogs, giving, prayer requests, as well as our information. Also, this coming week, Saturday at 10 a.m., we have our Women at the Well series. Please register there. You can attend our Women at the Well series, which will be this coming Saturday at 10 a.m., 10:30. For those of you that are in the Concord area, Charlotte area, you can attend at 10 on site, or you can also connect online. And then, of course, this is your way to support us here in giving at the Renewal Center. Again, thank you so much for being a part of our Tea Time this evening, and we'll see you next time.